Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our annual planning webinar. Today, we're going to learn how to write your business plan, how to really have success in 2023. We're going to give you all a free download workbook. And if you don't have this already, we'll be sending you a link. And also, if you're watching this sometime in the future, the link is down below this recording. We're going to go through how to set your annual business goals, what's required in terms of number of leads, number of cases, and your conversion rates in order to get those signed cases. You're going to write your marketing calendar. We're going to talk about the new strategies for marketing in 2023. And why is this so important? Well, Benjamin Franklin said that failure to plan is planning to fail. One of my favorites is Brian Tracy said, a goal without a plan is only a dream. We love Eat the Frog at 10 Golden Rules. And to make this real, I want to share a snapshot of the data for two of our clients. These are two personal injury firms. They're in similar size markets, and they get a similar amount of traffic. These guys get 4,827 users, which is unique visitors to their website. They're up pretty good, 44% year on year. And they get about 250, 300 leads in a month. These guys get just slightly fewer users, also trending up. They get even more leads. But this firm is really data-driven. They have plans, they have systems, they have processes, they have constant improvement, and they embrace a lot of innovation. You know, if we bring them a new idea, they do it. Some of our best new ideas, we learn from them. The second firm has weak execution. Internally, they have constant change, turnover, staff turnover in their intake department, turnover with the attorneys. And, you know, these guys don't even show up to meet with us. Like they just can't organize their business calendar. So, you know, one firm has their act together, has a precise plan, and has precise execution. The second firm, weak execution, constant change. And guess what? You know, similar amount of web traffic. This firm has 81 new cases in the past month. This firm had 32 new cases. So today we're going to talk about how to get your plan right, how to get your business focus right, and how to develop that kind of constant improvement. And I'll share with you some of the strategies we use at 10 Golden Rules and some of the strategies that our clients use. So without further ado, let's get into today's interactive workshop. My name is Jay Berkowitz. And if you all add your email in the chat, we'll make sure that you have the workbook if you don't have it already. So just please chat to Jenna and she'll send you that, or you can put it in the Q&A. And now let's get on with the show. The agenda today, I'll tell you a little bit about me and why I'm qualified to teach you a little bit about planning and business strategy for law firms. We'll talk about how to set your goals and how many leads you need to hit your business target. We'll look at the key numbers in competitive analysis that we prepare for our own in-house planning sessions and what we do with our clients. Talk about how to maximize lead flow and some of the core strategies and trends for the coming year. And we'll develop your priorities in your marketing calendar. So my name is Jay Berkowitz, and as I said, I wrote the 10 Golden Rules of Online Marketing almost 20 years ago now. My fifth book is called Internet Marketing for Law Firms, and I come from a very cold place called Winnipeg, Canada, although it's really beautiful to skate outdoors right now, home of the Winnipeg Jets. I always like to squeeze that in. And we got lucky or smart, and we moved to beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. That's my wife, Bonnie, and our little guy, Parker. And I started my career, I was very lucky. I worked at the ad agencies for McDonald's and Coca-Cola, and then I went to work at Coca-Cola as a director of marketing. And I worked for Sprint in the very early days of the internet. We got people their first emails, we got companies their first websites. And as I mentioned, I worked at McDonald's. I sold some of the most delicious high-fat foods in the world. And then I went to work at ediets.com, selling online diets. And we grew this company. We were very, very successful in the early days of the dot-coms. In 2002, 2003, Mark Zuckerberg was still in high school, the founder of Facebook, and Google was still in beta. And we were spending about $40 million to generate about $60 million in revenue on this online diet website. When I was asked to speak at the Direct Marketing Association, and I wrote a presentation called the 10 Golden Rules of Online Marketing, and we launched our company, 10 Golden Rules. Today, we work with a range of law firms all across the country. These are PI guys based in Indianapolis, Stewart & Stewart, Mass Tort Company, Law Tigers, the big motorcycle injury brand. These are a corporate attorney, another PI attorney. So we work with a range of folks all across the country. And I speak at events and mostly focus on speaking at in the legal community now. We give an annual award every year for the top personal injury law firm called the Millie Award, and I'm the judge and jury of that every year. And I love to create a hockey stick. As I mentioned, big Winnipeg Jets fan and hockey player. And this is a business hockey stick. This is where one of our clients went from 1,900 or 2,000 visitors to their website to 9,000 and 8,000 visitors to their website. And they went from 20 or 30 leads a month to 246, 226, 232 leads. Now, what are leads? Leads are calls. And so we use call tracking, form fills, and chats. So that's the important stuff you need on your website. Now, the problem, if you don't get your planning right, is, business used to be a much simpler path. It used to be more straightforward. But, if you think back of what your last few years looked like, the world generally serves up one of these kind of approaches to achieving your plans. So, think about the past year or 2 years. Did you achieve all your goals? Did you achieve all your plans? Are you hitting the metrics you want to hit? So we want to improve our planning process in order to improve our results. So the first step is to set your targets. Now, I always like to refer to the Harvard University study. And many years ago, they asked their graduating students, how many had a plan? And only 13% had their plan, and they had goals, but they didn't have a plan written out. Only 3% had a clear, written, precise plan. And as you may have heard of this story, the 13% who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the other 84% with no goals. But even more staggering, the 3% who had a clear, precise plan were on average, were generating more than 10 times than the average of the other 97%. So having a clear plan, having your goals written out and a precise plan to achieve your goals achieved 10 times the success of everybody else in the class. So when we sit down to do our planning process, I'm going to take you through all the elements of that plan. The first one is we review, sort of the overall objectives and priorities. We do an analysis. We'll show you how we look at the numbers, how we do a competitive analysis, and a brainstorming process we go through to identify the strengths, weaknesses, and trends, and identify the top 5 projects, and prioritize the top 1 of 5 projects, what Vern Harnish calls a rock in mastering the Rockefeller habits. So we look at the numbers. We look at things like, how is our analytics looking on the website? Where's our traffic going? Are we up? Are we down? I talked about the goals. Where are we going with how many calls, forms, and chats we're getting from a lead perspective? And I talked about the precision of the data that we look at when we do our analysis for our clients. How many total users? How many total phone calls, form fills? How are we performing year over year, month over month? And looking at all the data. Then we have a very precise data tracking we use where we track all the calls that are coming in. We see this firm got 177 calls, 44 clients retained, 25% conversion rate. These guys got 56 chats, 4 of them were retained or signed as clients, 7% conversion. The web forms, 58 web forms, and 3 retained as clients. And the total of 291 leads and 51 retained as clients. So again, a lot of precision and a lot of data. So now let's use the worksheet, and hopefully you all received your worksheets. If not, you can always do this on paper, but this one is a working template. So let me go over here, make it nice and big so we can all see it. Okay, so let's set an annual goal for the firm. So a lot of firms we talk to are in the 3 to 4 million range. So the firm I'm going to use in this example is doing $3.5 million, and their goal for next year is they want to get to $4.5 million. Let's make sure that's right. Yeah, $4.5 million. And then if we just click here, this is supposed to calculate that equals that divided by 12. I'm just going to go over here to do it because the formulas are correct. Okay, so we've got our annual revenue target, and y'all can fill this in on your worksheet, and do the math if you don't have Excel or Google Sheets available. So we're gonna just divide by 12 to get to our monthly revenue target. So our monthly revenue target is 375,000. What's your average case value? So in terms of your overall cases that you sign, you want to, in some business models, you're going to be looking at an average value over a period of time. For us, our clients, generally stay on average at least 18 months. Some of us, thankfully, have been with us many, many years. So we look at a lifetime case value a lot of times. But if you're looking at personal injury or any kind of single incident type of firm, you're going to look at that single case value. So let's say it's $15,000, and then the formula here calculates if we divide 375 by 15,000, that means we need 25 cases to hit our goal. Let me just make sure that's correct. 15,000 times 10 is 150. Yeah. So 15,000 times 25 cases to hit 375. Now, your average conversion rate. So how many leads do you get? And how many of those convert to signed cases? So, 25%, 30% is a good number. I mentioned the firm that really has their act together and they do a lot of work with their intake department. They're probably more at 35%. And the firm that doesn't do as good a job are more at 25%. And naturally, referrals convert much better than cold leads. So 27%, this firm would need 93 leads to hit their target. So what's the average cost to generate a lead? So we generally average that across LSAs, Google Screen. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Pay-per-click, SEO, any community initiatives, if you're doing TV or billboards or anything like that. So the budget required on a monthly basis to hit that number would be $23,000. So again, having the numbers and having the precision helps us get down to what we need to do in order to hit our target. So next up, where are we here? So you're going to fill that in on your worksheet. And if you have any trouble with that, I'd be happy to take you through it, and you can book a consultation for free at my consultation link. Let me just drop that in the chat. And keep going here. Good question from Scott. Hey, Scott. Does the model assume that every signed case is fee generating? Yeah, in this case, you would want to drill that down. So I think the question is like, a lot of times you sign cases and then they don't, obviously you don't generate money, or you lose that client over time if they get frustrated or, get wooed by another firm. So you've got to pick a number that is representative of your average case value. Okay, so feel free to pop in any questions or in the Q&A. All right, so here's what we do for our competitive analysis section. We look at all of your competitors. So if we're pulling this data together, we use this as a tool called SEMrush, and it can show you how many keywords your competitors rank for. Over here, so here we're looking at, this firm has 4,242 keywords. This competitor has 859. So what that means is that, Cohen and Cohen DC, women sues Walmart for discrimination. They're number one in the world for those terms. They have 101 keyword phrases. If you search that keyword phrase, it's going to show their website in the first 3 positions. So the number we're generally looking at is this first 2-page result. These guys are pretty far back at 329. And these guys have fallen off the cliff. They went from 840, where were they? Yeah, about 841 to 64. So if you're in this situation, definitely give me a call. This is an area we specialize in. We've helped a number of firms who've, we call it falling off the Google cliff. And typically you get in trouble with Google in terms of the algorithm, or they change their algorithm and your SEO leads fall off. This is paid traffic. And so here we put in 5 different firms and we see how much they're spending on pay-per-click on an average monthly basis. And we can also get a lot of data on the pay-per-click in terms of your competitors' ads, the landing pages they're using. And so the next up is what we call the 4 parts of Google. And, really it's become clear to me in the last year or so that, the Google game is very complex. And that's really the most complex thing that you have to figure out in terms of your online marketing. All 4 parts of Google. So there's the Google screen, the local service ads, the pay-per-click ads, PPC. Google Maps is the first SEO area, so very valuable to come up there. And then the search results. There's the 10 SEO results, the data we were just looking at on the page. So in terms of the local service ads and doing our annual planning, we're going to grab a snapshot of how, what does the first page look like here for Washington, DC car accident attorney, and who else is listed in the Google screened. All these guys have check marks and these guys don't have a check mark. We look at Google reviews, so very valuable in building your Maps SEO results as well as your local service ads. You need lots and lots of Google reviews. We'll talk about some strategies for that later on. So we want to track that. And then we also want to look at, the Google reviews, the Google rating, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. And we're going to do that for each of the different competitors in the marketplace. And it's super valuable when you look at it annually and then you have this data and you can do the tracking. So next up is our annual brainstorming. And what I like to quote is, what you focus on and measure improves. And I'm not sure who originally said this. This could be another Brian Tracy, but my friend Josh Nelson from 7-Figure Agency mentions this all the time and reminds us how important it is to measure the right things and then focus on them. And he's helped us with a real super focus on how many meetings we have every month. So for a law firm, how many leads walk in through the door, call, chat, and do a form fill on your website, and how many convert, and what's your conversion rate. And if you're not looking at that data every month and you're not focused on it and you don't have a plan to improve it, there's a good chance that you're going to be going in the wrong direction. So we do a brainstorming exercise I'll take you through in a minute. And Vern Harnish from Mastering the Rockefeller Habits talks about your company's rocks, your top 5 rocks. And the rock is think of a boulder that you're trying to push uphill on your own. These are projects that need more than one person. And we do this brainstorming exercise to identify our top 5 rocks. So recently we decided that we needed to hire a social media manager. We wanted to improve our game there. We had, less less than manager level folks working on the social media, and they were being directed by, the SEO team and the account managers. We wanted to build our new website, and our old website was focused on general internet marketing and Florida internet marketing. And so we wanted to build our new law focused website talking about, we're really 10 Golden Rules now works, almost exclusively with law firms, our roles and responsibilities. So this was a process of, really developing very precise task lists and, getting that into our process documents. And then we wanted to reposition 10 Golden Rules, not just as a internet marketing company, but also a law firm strategy company. And we were opening our new office in Atlanta. And so we assigned someone to own every one of those tasks. We got our new social media manager on board. Diamond's been doing great. We got our new website live. We developed our strategies, and we're writing the second book, or the sixth book, actually, growth strategies for law firms. And we opened our new Atlanta office. So here's how we do the exercise. In the old days, you used to do a SWOT analysis called strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But we do a brainstorming, and we go through each of the sections, and we talk about the strengths of the firm. Now, if we do this with you, we do it. We have a cross-functional team we bring together with as many of your leadership team as we can get, and those of us who work on the account, and maybe even a couple other key vendors. And we go through and we brainstorm what are the strengths of the firm, and then we prioritize what are the top 5 strengths. Then we do the weaknesses, and in the old days, you used to do opportunities and threats, but those tended to be the exact same as the strengths and weaknesses. So the third thing we brainstorm on is trends. What are societal trends? What are trends in our industry? What are some of the other trends? And then we, so this comes out looking like this, our strengths of the firm or the brand and the history, the intake department, the number of Google reviews, some of the weaknesses that maybe they have a big competitor, maybe Morgan & Morgan moved into your market, maybe your SEO is soft, and maybe you don't follow up with those leads. So the intake's really good, but if you don't convert them, you don't have a follow-on process. And then some of the trends, Google Screened is very important. Again, very, very top of Google. Mobile is very important, and Google Maps is an increasingly big opportunity in the legal sector. So then we brainstorm for projects, and we go through a whole exercise where we divide the team up and everybody brainstorms, then we come back together, and then we set the top 5 projects. So maybe for a law firm, the top new projects would be, hey, we want to get in the top 3 of Google Screened. And then when we vote, we decide that the number 1 of the top 5 rocks is going to get done no matter what. So everybody agrees, and everybody in the company is on board that the top 5 rock is going to get done no matter what. And then this firm wants to add chat to the website, because we see about a 20% increase in leads when you add chat to your website. They want to start doing videos. They want to do monthly cascading content, and they want to develop a remarketing program. So I'll just remind you all, if you have any questions, you can pop them in the Q&A. And Jenna's doing a great job. Thank you, Jenna, for monitoring that for me. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It says chat is disabled, but so please just use the Q&A. So slow things down. So next up is what we call the internet marketing model. And just to say that all of these things should be a part of your marketing plan, or some of these things. You're not going to try and do everything, but your marketing plan for the coming year. So this section at the top is representative of what we call a marketing funnel in internet marketing or in marketing. And this is the website. So we're going to use Google and Google Maps and maybe Yahoo and Bing and SEO. So this might be paid traffic to drive traffic to the website. And then we're going to use different sites like this is Google Screened, and this is our VIP Club program. Talk about that in a minute. This is Avo and some of the legal directories. So we're going to use those strategies both on the free side, the organic, and the paid side to get traffic to the website. And of course, the mobile website. Got to be very focused on that. And we're going to use email, and we're going to use banners, and we're going to use different feeds, maybe a podcast, and we're going to use YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, social media. So all of that traffic funnels into the website. We might do some testing with landing pages. These mini websites are representative of other websites linking to our website. So you've heard the term backlinks, very important for SEO. And then over here are the email program, like a follow-on email program. So the firm we talked about earlier, they're very good. Their intake was strong, but they didn't have a follow-on program. So if somebody didn't convert on day one, maybe the intake folks called them back once or twice, but they didn't have an email follow-on program. They didn't have a phone program to follow up. And we built a concierge program to do that for you. So if you don't have that system in place, please talk to me about that. And then you're going to put them into a newsletter. And then this is representative of remarketing, where the little banners come up on other websites as people navigate throughout the internet. If they come to your website and they don't convert, they don't make it into the shopping cart representative of, calling you or filling out a chat or filling out a form, you can show them banner ads on other sites throughout the internet. So I mentioned earlier the 4 parts of Google. So of course, the local service ads, got to have a plan in place to get in the top 2 or top 3. There's 2 results on a mobile phone and 3 results on a desktop. And the reason why I say you've got to have that in place is because, look at this, it's dominating now. When somebody searches for a car accident attorney or family lawyer or bankruptcy attorney, these dominate the search. And the consumers know that there's something valuable to the Google screening or the Google verified, which is what they call it in the home services. So things like garage repair, air conditioning, things like that. The Google check mark is, the consumer doesn't know exactly what it is. I mean, I barely know exactly what it is, but they know that, if they call one of these folks, there's something to it, like Google's checked them out or Google has some kind of guarantee. So when people click to call, obviously this is dominating the search results. We believe that about 40% of all leads now are going into the Google Screen program. So, and the other thing is you only pay for a lead. You only pay for a qualified call, and you can reject or dispute the calls that are not in your practice area. So you don't pay for clicks, like down here, the pay per click. You're in the old Google model, you paid for them to click to your website, and then your website had to convert them. Here, they're actually just calling you. So it's a really, really strong program. And the screen, how you get screened is you get verification. You need, your picture, your headshot, some company information, a tracking phone. Google uses a tracking phone number, and they record all the calls. So, I mentioned earlier the value of mobile. So what we see is on average, calls convert at 24%. So this program has multiple benefits. Obviously, it's right at the top of Google. Most of those leads are calls, and calls convert at 24%. Now, you also want to have the chat bot on your website or a chat box. And we use a couple different companies we recommend for that. And then you've got the form on your website. But we see that, typically calls convert by far and away the highest. Chats could be 5 or 10%. Forms could be 5, 6, 7%. But the most valuable thing is getting those phone calls and converting people right away. The next area is the pay per click, the paid ads. And, they're still very effective. Like a lot of consumers still click on these. And depending on the type of search, sometimes, and your practice area, sometimes the Google screened ads don't show up. So pay per click is still very valuable. This is a campaign where the client spent $25,000, got 1,600 interactions, 291 conversions, and the cost per conversion was $87. So that if we use the example earlier where the client was converting around 25% of the leads to cases, that's pretty good. You know, they're coming in at $300 or $400 per cost per case. And again, we track all this information, calls, chats, and form fills, and how many clients were retained. The next section, the Google Maps, super valuable because the Google Maps is the first organic or SEO section. And so you want to be very focused on getting lots of reviews, in adding content to your Google Maps. So your Google Maps is now a property that you own. It's like a mini website. And so we add content to it on a regular basis, and we optimize the local links and the local naming. It's called name, address, phone, NAP. You got to have very precise name of your firm, address of your firm, and phone number, name, address, and phone of the firm. And then the last section is the SEO. I call it the ABCs of SEO. A is the architecture of your website. Has to be fast and easy for Google to navigate. Having a sitemap and an HTML sitemap for Google is very valuable. The B is the backlinks. Other sites linking to your site. So here's a link to Scott Silver's site from Cornell, the Cornell Law School. Very high value site, very hard to get link. Has a lot of weight in Google's mind. And then finally, the content, the articles that you write, the blogs, the videos, all the images and the content on your website. And we have a whole website called the ABCs of SEO. I believe it's been viewed over 15,000 times, and you can find that on the 10 Golden Rules YouTube channel if you want more on SEO. And then a lot of our SEO or search engine optimization, we're focusing on voice. So we're focusing on people are asking questions. And so if we go back here to this result, Florida will contest statute of limitations. So what's the statute of limitations on a Florida will? And this is our client, John Pankowski, comes up #1. And this is a Google section they've added called People Also Ask. So people ask these questions and they ask other questions. So by having the best answer to a question, John's in the #1 position here, and a web page on the website comes up as well. So very focused on answering questions because people are doing voice search 50% or more. And this is what we call our cascading content model. So we actually create videos that answer questions, and then we add those videos to the website and all the social media. As well, we add the video and the blog to the Google Maps, and then we take the 4 videos each month and send them out. This is a MailChimp icon. So using a MailChimp or a newsletter service, we take the 4 articles and videos and blogs that we post each month, and we send it out as our client's monthly newsletter. So this is a super easy strategy that you can put in place where if you answer questions and post an answer to a question once a week on YouTube and take that question and embed it in a blog on your website, it's a super powerful strategy. And then some of the newer strategies that you should be thinking of for 2023. This one's just like a wait, stop, make sure you go do this right away. Google has added a new software to their analytics, or a new version of their analytics. And Google Analytics is where we get all the data I've been showing you. How many people came to the website? How many people filled out a form? Where did they leave the website? Like all the key data that we get comes for free from your Google Analytics account. But Google's changed the program, so you need to add the Google Analytics 4, what we're calling in the industry GA4, and there's a lot of improvements, but it's very, very important because Universal Analytics, or the analytics that's on your website today, will stop being supported on July 1st, 2023. So this is just a quick heads up that you want to make sure you add this new GA4, and it's going to do other things like work on cookieless tracking and privacy, and work cross-platform and measure return on investment. So we've completed this for all our clients, and I'm ensured that you do that. on your website. Another thing we've developed internally is a technology we're calling TGR Boomerang. And so let's say someone fills out a form on your website. So what Boomerang will do is will send a text to your intake department, because in the old model, without Boomerang, this might sit in someone's email box for hours or days before you get back to that lead. And typically people who fill out forms on websites fill out forms on other websites. And so if you don't get back to those folks instantaneously, you might be missing that opportunity. So we send a text over to the intake department with TGR Boomerang. Same thing with the local service ads. You get penalized very heavily if you miss a phone call. So we talked earlier about the importance of those local service ads and the fact that most of those leads come in as phone calls. If you miss a phone call, you get penalized in Google. Sometimes you miss the phone call from the local service ads because the person hangs up. They hear the notice from Google that Google's recording the call, and they actually hang up on the call. Well, that's a real problem, because if they hang up, then Google, no, it's not a problem in terms of the Google algorithm. So because Google knows that they hung up before you could answer the phone, but they hung up and it was still a lead. Like it was still someone who searched, family attorney near me, and they clicked on one of these ads and they called you, but you missed the lead because they hung up. So Boomerang sends that lead because it's still, the data is still in the local service ad, in the Google screened local service ad program. So we pull the data, we text it to you from TGR Boomerang. So it's a great tool for reaching missed calls, confirming appointments, and also maximizing conversion by texting your intake folks when those leads come in. So without further ado, let's take a look at how to build a marketing calendar. And basically, from basic old-fashioned calendarization, you're going to add things like Martin Luther King Day, maybe you got Valentine's, and you got July 4th in July. So you're going to put some of those kinds of events on the calendar, and your calendar is going to look different based on where you are. Like you might have your big community activity in the summer if you're up north, and then we're down here in Florida, so you're definitely not going to do any community activities in the summer because everybody's out of town and it's super hot. So we're going to, the spring period's a great time to do something if you're doing something with a charity or a community activity. So generally we'll come up with something like a conversion theme, a creative theme, and a new theme for each quarter. So some of the initiatives I talked about earlier, we work on a quarterly basis. Big projects generally can get done, and mid-sized projects can get done in 3 months. And so we might say that our theme in January is to implement the chat, and then we're going to do a conversion rate audit, and then your customer VIP parties also in February. And then March, the social media is going to have a spring theme, and then we're going to develop those new follow-on emails in March. In April, we had a priority for video, and we're going to roll out our videos. And then we're going to refresh our website in May and do a landing page test in June. So we like to calendarize things and get big projects done. You can't do it all at once. And so this is a really good way to approach your marketing calendar. And you all have a blank for your marketing calendar in your download. I thought I had one more. There we go. This one's supposed to be here. And I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. And there's a whole webinar on social media for law firms. And we actually developed the social media calendar. And we developed over 100 social media ads or social media graphics. And it's all available free of charge. So if you want to build out your social media calendar, I'm going to put this in the, chat's disabled. Can you guys see the chat if I chat? If I put a chat? Jenna, just let me know. Chat. Chat. And for those of you watching this after the fact, you just got to type all this out, social-media-for law firms calendar, or go to YouTube and watch the social media video and show chat previews, webinar chat. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the settings here because someone said chat was disabled. Anyways, so that's where you get that, and it's really awesome because we've, like, our team actually built over 100 social media ads, like, just like little social media graphics, like Memorial Day and New Year's Day and Happy Holidays and things like that. And then you can just we use this software called Canva, and Canva is awesome because you can just plug in your logo, plug in your firm name, and all your social media is done for the year. So that's done for you. So in conclusion, what we did is we set our goals for 2023, calculated how many leads we need to hit our new target, and we developed our key numbers and competitive analysis. We generated a lot of strategies and sort of our marketing calendar, and brainstormed our biggest projects, our top rocks for the year, built our core strategies and trends, and developed our priorities and our marketing calendar. And I'll just wrap up with one thought, which is what you focus on and measure gets results. And I'll be happy to take a few questions. So I just use the Q&A, please, if you have any questions. Let me get over here and see this. Okay, good question from Eric. What are how do you get in the top 3 of Google Screened? And what do you do if you fell out of the top 3? So, I mentioned the Google Screened or local service ads right at the top of Google, super valuable, and right at the top of Google. And what a lot of firms are saying, that they've fallen out of the top 3, or they couldn't get in the top 3. So we did a whole webinar on local service ads. Again, you can find the webinars if you go to the 10 Golden Rules channel on YouTube, or if you just go to 10 Golden Rules and click on YouTube at the bottom of the page where we have our social media icons. And then we've got a webinar on SEO, pay-per-click, local service ads, and the social media one with the free social media calendar. So in the local service ads, we talked about our secret algorithm to get ranked in the top 3. So the first thing is you got to answer the phone, and Google's measuring how quickly you answer the phone. You got to answer within 15 seconds. So that's super important, and you got to make sure you're not missing any calls. So and you want to add after-hour services. Add a call center if you don't have the after-hour services. So that's answering the phone. The second thing is getting in and designating those leads immediately. So in the back end of the local service ads, it shows you all the new leads you have, all the archived leads you have, all the completed leads, like the booked leads. That's a term, again, this program started in home services. So booked is like you booked an appointment to go out and see someone, but they use the same terminology. So booked would mean you had a call with somebody, and then how many you disputed. So if you get in and you put the information on each lead, you book it, you say this was a great lead, we have an appointment with Mr. Smith tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and you put in information like that, the more data you can give feedback to the system, because Google Screened is basically run on an artificial intelligence algorithm. So, how quickly answer the phone, how much data you put in there, how many of those leads are good leads, like you're able to convert them to clients, that works positively in your favor. So think of feeding that algorithm by answering the phone, getting in there and designating the calls, how you set up the campaign. And so that changes a little bit from month to month. And so we probably have to coach you through that. But in terms of how you're setting up your bidding strategy and how much you're bidding, and whether or not you're letting Google optimize your bids, proximity plays into the algorithm. And then there's a couple other factors lower down the list, and you can find that on our local service ad webinar. Okay, great question from Lee. When building a marketing calendar, what do you mean by develop a theme? Okay, that's a good question, and let me just pop back to that slide. So basically, what we call the theme here on this calendar was quarterly themes. So in sorry, this mouse is a little wild. In Q1, our theme was on improving conversion. So when we went back to that template of that brainstorming we did with a client, they weren't converting enough of their leads into clients. And when we showed them numbers for their firm and a number of other firms, their conversion rate wasn't high enough. So one of the things is, I mentioned that you can improve your conversions by putting the little chat box on your website. And you can improve conversions about 20%. So one way to improve conversion is to implement the chat box. The second one was a conversion rate optimization audit. And so that's a project we do for clients. And there's a number of specialists out there who focus on auditing your website for conversions. And some of the things are pretty basic, right? Like, adding the chat to your website, adding the form to your website, adding the contact to your website. But the most important thing is adding the phone number to your website and your mobile website. And if the phone number should be in the top right position on your desktop, and it should stay at the top of your mobile website as people scroll. So we like to put a fixed header so that the phone number stays there as people scroll down on the phone. And the phone number is just always there and super easy once they decide, okay, these guys do personal injury. These guys are based in my town. They've got some testimonials. They've got some big case wins. I'm going to call them, and the phone number is right there. And they can click to call. Now, a lot of times, the phone number is not there. You've got a really big form. Like a lot of times when we look at websites for companies, they've got a massive form right there on the phone, right? Like the whole phone is a form. There's nothing about the firm. There's no information about the firm, and that's fine. Like if someone's a referral and they're like, hey, call Smith and Smith, these guys are the best car accident lawyers, and they get to the website and the forms there, they were told, like, go to smithandsmith.com. But if somebody's just researching like car accident lawyer near me and they come to your website and all there is a big form, that's not what we would call conversion rate optimization. First of all, we prefer phone calls than forms, because phone calls convert at 24%. Forms can be as low as 2 or 3%. So we'd rather have some information about the firm, who you are and what you do, some testimonials. So anyways, I'm getting sidetracked, but conversion rate optimization is how you convert the higher percentage of the folks who come to your website. And there's certain basics that obviously you want to follow. And then the advanced class is some software. The most popular one is called ClickTracks. And ClickTracks looks at where people click, and it even looks at the mouse and where the mouse hovers and doesn't click. And so it gives us clues that, hey, a lot of people were going here on your website, but that's not where you want them to go. You want them to go here and either call or chat or fill out a form. And they're going to, they're clicking on an image that they think is a phone number, but it's not, or something like that. And then follow-ons are to convert leads. So setting up like a follow-on program, either remarketing or setting up follow-on emails. So if somebody doesn't sign on right away, but you've got their email, you could send them some case studies. You could send them some videos, some testimonials from happy customers. You could send them, a personal note from the founder of the firm. You could send them a note from the paralegals. Say, hey, I'm a video from the paralegals. Say, hey, I want to tell you about how the case goes. Like once you meet with your lawyer, we're going to handle a lot of the details. We're going to set up meetings with your doctors, and we're going to organize everything for you. We're going to make it super easy. We're going to talk to the insurance company for you, and we're going to make sure you don't say anything to the insurance company that will reduce the value of your case, and on and on and on. So you could make a case through follow-ons if the person's going through. Some people make a decision right away. They're going to hire the first firm they talk to, but some people are in the process of interviewing firms for 8 or 10 days. So your follow-on emails can improve conversion. So that's an example of setting up a theme for the quarter. And then, maybe this theme's about creativity. So we're going to have videos, we're going to refresh the website, and we're going to refresh the landing pages. Let me see, take 1 or 2 more questions here. How do you track, this is a good one from John. How do you track how many calls and how many forms you get? So, sorry, how many chats? Because the forms are easy to track. So we use a call tracking software called CallRail. And I would say like 80% of firms, like law firms today, are using CallRail. And it records the calls and basically has a pool of numbers. So there's about 10 phone numbers that the person will see, like if they click on a Google ad, and then they rotate through, so they know which one came from where. And basically we find out how many calls we got, and it records the calls. And then, like in the local service ads, Google records the calls, and we can go in and listen to the calls and say if they were a good call and they're booked, or not a good call, and we do what's called archiving or disputing those calls. So CallRails for call tracking, and then we use like Apex Chat or Intaker or Engage. We'll make a recommendation depending on your situation. We use different softwares for the chat and the chat tracking, and we get very precise data there. And then the form tracking, you have to align that with your Google AdWords and your analytics. And if people fill out the form on your website, that's how we track that data. You're welcome. I gotta thank you. All right, well, we're just about at the hour, so I'm gonna wrap up here, but be happy to meet with you all. And let me put my consultation slide up again here. If you just go to Calendly, that's those little calendars where you can see my calendar. Calendly, like calendar, but LY, calendly.com/J-10 golden rules/strategy-session. Easy for me to say, strategy session. I'd be happy to meet with you and learn more about your business and see if there's any quick questions we can answer for you, or anything we can help you with. Love to work with you on your digital marketing and your business planning going forward. So thank you very much. Have a great end of the year if you're watching this live. Hope you're having an awesome 2023 if you're watching this early in 2023 and getting your plans down.